So, g'day everybody. We're hearing from the Liberals and the Nationals. There seems to be a bit of a kerfuffle going on over them claiming to be dumping net zero. Now, I wanted to have a bit of a chat about that, in so much as this is a bit of an old tactic of the, in particular the National Party, when they say that they've pushed a policy and then when they get into opposition, all of a sudden they say they don't want it, they really don't support it, but sadly we don't have the numbers to do anything about it. Now this is an old tactic that they use. It's absolutely just dishonest, it's garbage. They technically might not have the numbers, but do they fight? They technically might not have the numbers, but do they actually fight against it? So, Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion. Today we're in Echuca in north central Victoria, right on the New South Wales border, and today is Tuesday the 18th of November 2025. So the Libs and the Nats have made a big song and dance about dumping the net zero policy. But have they really done that? And what effect is it going to have on our farmers? What effect is it going to have on our entire country? So they tell us that they're out of it. However, the Libs and the Nats were the ones that originally signed us up to the disaster that we're in right now, this commitment to net zero. And I would like to say that in the Senate, this coming next sitting session in Canberra, which is only days away, I expect that there'll be a bill put forward. It's already gone through the lower house. It's called the National Environmental Protection Agency Bill. Now this is the guts of the entire net zero thing. On top of the EPBC Act, this is going to be horrendous. It's catastrophic. So what they've actually done, what the Libs and Nats have done, is they've given birth to this disaster. This is a Frankenstein thing on steroids. They've created this whole commitment to this net zero rubbish, and it is now alive and well. It's going down the road, as we've said a bit before, and it's gaining momentum. It's gaining steam, and it is also getting legislation through that is going to push it. And so what's happened in reality is the Liberals and the Nats are exactly the same as the Labor Party and the Greens. They're still behind this because they are not coming out in the public and actively attacking this. And one of the most important things that they need to do is they need to tell the Australian public, the Australian agricultural sector, that this whole net zero garbage and the legislation that they want to bring through in possibly another week is all part of the World Economic Forum strategy to destroy our farmers and our country. We don't see them come out and attack it, and we don't see them come out and tell the Australian people the truth. Because I put it to you that the Libs and the Nats are every bit as on the gravy train as what the Labor Party and the Greens are. They're every bit as committed to the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the World Health Organization as what the lefty side of it is. And if we look at the World Health Organization, which has now become the muscle, the strong arm, the enforcement side of all this stuff for the WEF and the UN, then that's what this piece of legislation, this is what the other legislation that we saw just recently, in so much as the Centre for Disease Control, is all about. And we're now going to see farmers be a hell of a lot more targeted than what they've ever been. Anybody who owns land, anybody who wants food, growing food, your own stuff in your backyard, developing land, having anything to do with moving around the country, the whole thing is now on the table, this whole net zero fraud. And this is a complete, absolute fraud. And get any university professor or any politician, sitting politician, I will debate them publicly about this, no problem at all. We will prove that their science is fraudulent and that actually has very sinister, very serious intentions. And that is what this whole thing is about. So, we're on the Murray Valley Highway here, the Northern Highway, just out of Echuca. You've got a fair bit of stuff going past. Anyway, we've got a fair few toots and bits of supports here while we've been parked here. So this is a big part of what we're fighting against. This is why we're calling out the Liberals and the Nationals and saying, come out and fight against it publicly. Don't just sit here in the Senate and go, oh, well, look, we just had a division, we just had a vote, and look, sadly, we lost because we didn't have the numbers. Well, you need to come out and tell the Australian people what is actually happening, what is actually going on. Because everything is on the line now. We're going to lose everything. And the Libs and the Nats, exactly the same as the Labor Party and the Greens, are a part of this problem. They are in on it. They have people who are associated with the World Economic Forum. And if you want to go back to when the whole COVID fraud was in full swing, and that's what it was a fraud, it was an attack on us. People might remember Greg Hunt. He was a Liberal Party minister. Greg Hunt was actually a part of the World Economic Forum. So when we see the WEF say that they've penetrated the cabinets of certain countries and certain governments, they mean it. This is why Greg Hunt has sold out Australia. That's why they got people killed. So therefore, we want the Libs and the Nats to come out and actually say what is really happening here with this rubbish they're telling us about they've dumped net zero. Because they created it, they got it going, and if they don't come out and fight hard, tooth and nail against it by telling the Australian people what's happening, then they are absolute frauds. They have not dumped anything. They've not backed away from anything. And it's actually a massive big sideshow. It's a distraction. Because while they're putting these bills through Parliament, these incredibly serious and dangerous bills that give the WHO the power over Australia, they're creating the distractions with all this rubbish that is keeping people and the news cycles tied up to all that stuff instead of focusing on what's really happening, the massively dangerous things. So in addition to that, as people know, now we're on the case of the National Farmers Federation. We're trying to get an interview with the new president of the National Farmers Federation, but he seems to be missing in action. It seems to be very strange that he told me that, yes, we'll do an interview, no problem, and then all of a sudden they've changed their tactics. So I think that this is absolutely critical for the National Farmers Federation to come out and tell people what they know. Because I would suggest to you the National Farmers Federation leadership are on this bandwagon. They've got their snout in the trough. And these are my opinions. What I'm saying on this here today are my opinions. It's up to you to work out whether you think it's right. But they're not saying a damn word. All they're saying is agriculture should be exempt from getting to net zero. Well, that means nothing. You need to come out and actually do something. Unless, if you don't do that, then, in my opinion, you are supporting net zero. You're supporting the destruction of the Australian agricultural sector. And I want people to know that if they do go ahead with this, as it looks as if they're going to do, then you'll be having your fertilisers banned. You'll be having your pesticides banned. You'll be having your herbicides banned. Using diesel tractors will be banned. They expect you to use electric tractors, and then they expect to systematically shut down agriculture, farming and meat production. So all this is happening now. It's been happening for a long time, being organised. So therefore, that's why we're holding the National Farmers Federation to account. And we want the fearless president of the National Farmers Federation to actually do what he said he's going to do an interview with Billboard Battalion, and come out and start to tell the Australian farmers exactly what the truth is, and the fact that the plan is that they don't last much longer, because that is the plan. All right, people, thanks very much for watching. We'll leave it at that. Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion. We're coming to you today, Tuesday the 18th of November 2025. We've got the bus here in Echuca in north central Victoria, and we just wanted to show you a couple of things that are on the side of the Billboard Battalion bus that we've been saying for a long time, and now the legislation is being put in place to actually make that happen. So we'll have a bit of a look. We'll have a bit of a look along the side here, and this will show you how long we've been actually doing this. So 2023, 2024, we actually started the year before that in 2022, and we upgraded some of the stuff that we put on the bus. And up the back here, we've got, they're coming to take your money. Well, now we're seeing the legislation being put in place to exactly do that. We're seeing here, they're coming to take your home. That is absolutely correct. And your politicians right now are putting the legislation through Parliament to make that happen. And what's most important to farmers, they're coming to take your land. There it is right there. It's in black and white. It's been on this bus for a few years now. This has been our messaging. They are coming to take your land. And if you have a look here, we've got the whole permanent lockdown things are coming. This is what the Centre for Disease Control is all about. And it says you will own nothing. That's a direct quote from the World Economic Forum. You will own nothing. And they've just given the power to the World Economic Forum over the Australian government. The Australian government now is a prostitute to the World Economic Forum through the World Health Organization. Here it is here, World Economic Forum, United Nations, the World Health Organization, and your government. They are the people who, and the organisations, the institutions that are attacking you, your families and your country. You're going to lose absolutely everything. That's what it says there, because that's what the World Economic Forum, the UN and the WHO have told us. That's their words, not mine. That's their stuff. And when we say here Australia is under attack, and we say, where do you stand? Well, I think we know very well where the National Farmers Federation stand. And I think we know where the Labor Party and the Greens, a number of the lefty politicians, the independents so-called, the Teals and the Liberals and the Nationals stand. Because this is what's happening right here on the side of this bus. That is what's going on. So, all right, people, keep in mind, we'll be in Canberra next week. We'll be fighting for you. We're fighting for your families and for your farmland, for your house land, for a block of dirt that you've got anywhere and your right to actually stay alive. So feel free to get onto our website, give us a bit of a hand if you can with some donations, support what we're doing, spread and share all this stuff that we're talking about, all our videos, and get onto the National Farmers Federation and a heap of these other maggoty politicians and say to them, why won't you talk to Farmer Wade? What have you got to hide, if anything? We're not saying they're criminals, but they might be. Thanks very much. See you later.